and welcome to the Self-Made Podcast. I'm Bianca Miller-Cole.
And I'm Byron Cole.
And today we are here with the amazing Melanie Grace, who is the founder of Corporate Angels. We're going to be talking all about business, being a woman in business, and how she founded the company. So, Melanie.
Over to you. So
thank you so much for coming, first and foremost.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. No, it's a pleasure, obviously, keeping track of all the great work and podcasts you're doing. So
Thank you. Thank you
nice
for your kind words. Tell us about your business, first of all.
So the business Corporate Angels, I've had it for now 2.5 years, and we started off just supplying hostesses to assist luxury brands because I had a background in the hostess business and marketing side.
Sure.
And over the past 2.5 years, it's amazing how when you start something, everything progresses and diversifies. So from just doing the hostesses, we do like long-term event assistance. So the hostesses aren't there just for one event. We work with our partners long-term. So from this, we got asked for other services like the social media support at events and then the business development side.
Awesome.
So it's now just turned into kind of a luxury brand agency, and we're helping our clients on, all three aspects just to kind of build the trust, develop the presence of their events and, even the marketing side, but all in the luxury sector. And for saying that started with hostesses, it's been a pretty, fast growth, thing.
Give us
to
some
diversify.
examples. What does that look like in terms of the events that you support? You say luxury brands. Give us some examples of who you're working with.
Of course, so we're regulars at the Abu Dhabi F1.
Yeah.
So for example, last year what we did is we had an amazing yacht. We were in berth 1. It was beautiful. I had 15 of the team there. So we do have a team in London and Dubai. So 15 of the ladies were helping out the clients, organising the event, keeping everything on track.
Awesome.
And from that event, we got some fantastic social media content. So obviously in-house, have a great digital team. So that just really enabled them to kind of leverage that content, push it out, promote that event, ready for next year. And obviously with the clientele we've got, that relates to pushing sales and tickets for them. So it's kind of like a really nice ecosystem we've now built. So for every client, there's like an individual process, but it's working really well.
And the hostesses, what do they do? Are they literally there welcoming people, handing out drinks? What's the full breadth of their opportunities?
Okay, so it's quite difficult because hostesses is something we use like a term because obviously it resonates and people understand it straight away.
Yeah.
But the issue is obviously the hostesses and the girls we have on board, it takes around 30 to 35 girls to get one decent lady on our team.
Wow.
So we're looking for, someone who's had experience in the marketing, communication skills. Are they switched on? How are they going to represent each company? So hostesses is one side because obviously they're looking after everyone at the events, but then other than that, we look after, the time schedule, making sure they're promoting the client. We do training month on month to make sure they understand the products, the services, what they're wanting to achieve. So they're seen as more of an extension of the brand and the team rather than just a hostess at per event. But the hostess side really is a great way just to kind of initially start off and get the first event going.
So you said that really kind of, you said that quite smoothly, you go through 35 people to find one good person.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people kind of don't appreciate
They underestimate how
how
hard it
difficult it is to find
Totally.
the right people.
Yeah.
How have you found that experience of, that's a lot of people to get one person, that's right. How have you found that experience?
It's been a real journey. So from when I first started the company, I've learned so much. So where before I was looking, obviously the ladies have had experience in the industry before, all the basic things. Now it's, how can I trust that person? It's if they're consistent with the work that they deliver. How do they treat the clients? How do they act not only at the event, but say in a kind of social environment as well? Because the trust I have to have with these people is second to none. And obviously our reputation is key. So, we do have a long process from obviously the starting point to having like a trial to making sure that they're in kind of tip-top shape to carry on with us. But it's amazing because a lot of the girls that have been with me since day one are still with me now, and
awesome.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think, I enjoy so much working alongside them, catching up with them at events and just kind of seeing them develop at each and every area. So it's really great.
How did you come up with this initial idea? I know that you had a background, but how did you one day have that light bulb moment that everyone always talks about where you thought, gosh, we need to change how hostesses are perceived, or we need to help brands? What was it? What was the moment for you?
Okay, so after having finishing a degree in business and everything like that, I knew that I wanted to have my own company, but I had no idea what. So I thought, where's business happening? London. So I just moved down to London, and obviously.
Where were you from originally?
Originally, I'm from the Midlands.
Okay.
Yeah, so near Derbyshire. So
Right.
family's still back there. It's nice to go visit.
Yes, yeah.
Get out of the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, definitely. The breather's always good. So what happened is then I saw that obviously freelance work is the quickest and easiest thing to get into, and obviously that came with the hostesses, assistant events. There's so many agencies out there you can just give it a go with. So I started with everything: conferences, exhibitions, trade shows, every single job, from something that's really low and basic to like the high-end events. And what I started to see was that the gap for the luxury market wasn't there. So, you know, you'd have a really high-end event like Jaguar or Aston Martin, and the girls would turn up to the event and they'd do a good job, but they didn't know who the most important people were, what they needed to achieve at the event. And, you know, after that, when everyone had made a really great event happen and got on with the team, they'd never see them again. So that's when I thought, right, I need to re-strategize. I do love it, you know, kind of motivating a team. That's something I'm passionate about. I love working in the luxury sector because it's a long-term trusted relationship and, you know, with strong roots. So yeah, then I kind of created Corporate Angels off that. So it's not been overnight. I must admit, we've trialed and errored about 100 different methods, which I'm really proud of. But, you know, now we're kind of stepping up.
Now you've got it right.
Right, yeah, touch wood.
So what would you say your biggest learning experience then during that time is?
Oh gosh, I've learned, honestly, so much. The biggest thing I've learned is probably, I think, the strength that you have to have mentally. And I don't know whether this is a strength or a weakness of mine, but, you know, when you kind of like set standards for yourself and say, this is the line I want to aim for, I think it's a lesson to not step back from that. You know, so many things happen when you're growing a company that you're like, oh, okay, maybe that isn't the right thing, although that's the standard I want. It's not really happening. The kind of smaller clients are coming in, that's not really the amount of money I want to put into it, or, you know, they don't match what I set out to do. So, you know, over time you start to step back. So I think to really keep that end in mind is so important. So that was the biggest lesson, and obviously we've been back and forth trying to get to that stage. It's like, you know, one step back, two steps forward kind of thing.
Yes.
But I think to keep your standards of what you want to achieve is so important, really important.
So you have, your brands are quite luxury brands, high-end clients.
Yeah.
How do you leverage your social media platforms to kind of market to those audiences? Because often there's a disconnect, because luxury brands don't often look at social medias per se.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of leverage that balance?
I think with that we just try and put as much value as we can into the content we provide. So one of my team members, we just specialise at attending all the world's best events, throwing out tips on how to have a great exhibition, you know, leverage your luxury brand, what you can do on social media. So I've got everyone just pushing content and ideas out there, what we do in-house and what we've trialled and errored. And then I think by them learning, that content really adds value to them, and that's how they always, I mean, we've had a lot of referrals, and I think it's sometimes you can do it backwards. You think, right, I need to chase clients, I need to do this. But when you're adding value, they really will come to you. It sounds too easy, but it is.
Because some
And
of
they
your
keep
videos,
coming back.
some of your videos on
Definitely.
LinkedIn and get, you know, tens of thousands of views, some of them, right?
Yeah.
And why do you think that is? What advice would you give to those who are behind you, trying to do what you've done, or trying to get those views? What is it about you and your content that is making it so successful?
I think with LinkedIn, there's two things that really kind of make sure you can, you know, really get, you know, more followers and leverage what you're doing. The first and my biggest thing, this is just in life as well, is consistency. You know, I mean, even if I don't feel like I want to post, I will post. Like, whether it's 5 times a week or 3 times a week, I just think, you know, the momentum is so important, and people don't realise that. You think, oh, I'll put one out there, give it 2 weeks or something. And
Post again.
Yeah.
Consistency is key.
Definitely agree with that, and I think that's in all areas, but LinkedIn with how you post. And then the second thing, I would think, you know, it's important to understand what you're talking about first before you put it out there.
Yeah.
So I think you can't just kind of do a video and expect and hope for the best. Just think what you want people to listen to, how you want them to respond to it, what information you're putting out there, because if I get one good comment of people saying, oh, that was great and it's really helped me have a better day or improve the method, then that's enough for me. I don't do it for kind of mass. I'm lucky to have a lot of followers and I'm grateful for that. But, just to change even like one person's perspective on things is great, is what I really look to do.
So we've seen that you travel into lots of different countries.
Yeah.
I think 11 or 12 countries or so that you've taken your team around. Tell us some of those countries.
Yeah, so I'm averaging travelling about 3 times a month right now.
Wow.
Which is...
and you're doing the travelling as yourself with the team?
Yeah, so I must admit I am trying to balance it out. So that's me on one side and then other people doing stuff.
Yes.
But we have a lot of presence in like Dubai, Monaco, done a lot more in the States. And I must say we've been in Pakistan quite a lot lately as well.
That's interesting,
been,
isn't it?
Yeah, we did a really big project out there, so it was excellent. But yeah, I think the travelling and just focusing on even 2-3 key clients in different countries for us has been a great movement, because the brands that are on board normally have a global presence.
Sure.
So by us having more of a global presence just helps them
to continue to use you.
Definitely.
Right,
so
sure.
it kind of works well.
And do you now have teams stationed in each of those countries, or are you literally taking them from England over to...
So I've got a core team in the UK of 15 ladies. We've got 18 ladies in Dubai that we do work with, but they're not all on full time. And then we've got a small team in Monaco and the States as well. So,
awesome. So
yeah.
are they full time? The ones in the UK, they're full time.
So I've only got the 5 of the people that are on full time.
Yeah.
Then everyone else, we've got 10 of them that are part time, and then everyone else we just
On
try
an
and bring
ad hoc
in.
basis.
Amazing.
Definitely.
Amazing.
Which is quite frustrating, because obviously I want to create such a good team culture and keep everything together, but I think, patience is key. So
Yeah.
And it's the reality of
Absolutely.
business. You don't want to have so many people on full time and you don't always need them. You have to have that flexibility, don't you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what are you trying to achieve? What is the end goal for you?
So obviously with Corporate Angels, we're kind of having a lot more global presence, but I just really want to be known as a brand that, assists the luxury brands to get leverage success on digital and at events. I think, we've got some amazing partners on board now. So say our 1, 3, 5 year plan is just to increase the amount of value we add to those people. And then also in-house, we've got a great database, and just the business side of things, we're creating really strong foundation. So you never should look past, obviously, selling the business, but I think at the minute we're on the right track to creating just even like the systems and everything. It's just constantly building it to keep it on track.
Give us some of those names of brands you want to work with. Put it out. Let's put it out there to the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Who do you want to work with?
Okay, so my favourite all-time brand, because I'm obsessed with their cars, is Aston Martin. Oh my gosh, I adore those cars. So they've been on our radar for a while, and also I'm good friends with someone who's at Fedship, and their yachts are absolutely stunning. For me, they're the best super yacht company in the world. So they're definitely...
I love your taste already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aston Martin yachts.
Lunch with you is expensive. Yeah, lunch with you is expensive,
Handbags,
I'm sure.
cars, watches, yachts, and Aston Martin. Fabulous.
Yeah, so they're great. But I think...
what sort of brands do you work with now? Are you allowed to say some of the names of the brands?
Yeah, of course. So we do a lot of work with Series Elite. So they've got they're working alongside Jaguar. So they've got an amazing series that they're doing with, it's around 12 to 15 cars throughout the UK. They're going to have loads of members of the team, and you get to just experience different tracks, days, ice drive, and it's super exciting. That's something we're really helping them head up. Other things as well, which is it's a bit of a diversify, but we do a lot in the vape industry and CBD. So obviously luxury is our thing, but when there's a team that we really enjoy working with and they've got a really good culture and they're like the leaders in their industry, then we'll happily assist their events. So one of our clients is called Vape Dinner Lady. We've been in over 10 countries.
Vape Dinner Lady?
Vape Dinner Lady, yeah.
What's that?
Okay, it's a really... So they've got basically... vape juices that are like lemon tart, strawberry custard.
Oh wow!
They are insane.
Wow.
They're so good.
So reminiscent of like school dinner type flavour.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
So they've been, their presence and their growth. This is one thing that's my favourite thing. When we first started, a lot of the brands were doing to small retailers. They were just getting started. And now, like, they're in over 80 countries. And that's been 2 years. We've seen all their global growth in their events where they've been overseas, and just to see that the team, because all the guys that work there are phenomenal, and the women as well, and the offices that they've just moved into, for me and the team to see each other's growth. I think not only friends wise you need to surround yourself with good people, but clients wise as well. Work with good people that you want to work with, and if not, that's going to have an effect on you. So It's but yeah, their concept is incredible. They've got flavors coming out all the time.
Yeah.
Next exhibition, we're doing stuff in Paris with them as well. We've got Birmingham coming up. So yeah, super exciting there.
Amazing. So you said Baked in a Lady, then you were...
Yeah, so we've got
Jaguar,
Series
Elite,
which is really good. And Monaco Yacht Show, that's a regular one for us as well. So we work with Boots and Design, who's an incredible interior design company. Daniela Boots, and she's, oh my gosh, this woman, she's one of the best women powerful entrepreneurs I've ever met. So to work with them has been a pleasure. We've been with them 2 years in a row now. And then Lufthansa as well, Technique, the private side, we work with them. So every show we try and just hone in on the brands that we feel really passionate about and consistently deliver, you know, a really great work ethic and job for them. So.
Amazing. So you mentioned just now a woman that you thought was amazing. Are there any other kind of women entrepreneurs that you look up to or that you aspire to be like? Is there?
Definitely. I think with women entrepreneurs, I'm fascinated. I always watch YouTube channels, podcasts all the time. I really love keeping track of Sarah Blakely on social media. She's brilliant.
Yes, yeah.
Who else? I mean, Deborah Needham as well. I love how strong she is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of Dragon's Den.
Yes, yeah.
Strong, firm.
Yes,
I like that, yeah.
But with the information I get and the person I really love listening to, I'm such a big fan of Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
And just kind of like the old style methods and, you know, Think and Grow Rich. That's a really amazing book. And I don't know, I used to be a ballroom dancer way back, and my dance coaches were kind of all like the older generation, really professional. So I think in business, to listen to them and their knowledge, it just kind of resonates. And, you know, I find that what they're saying is just, it's kind of, a lot of people have took elements of that and then done their own books. So to go straight to the source is brilliant. And
absolutely.
I'm a massive fan of Robert Greene as well. Like the 48 Laws of Power, give it a read if you haven't. It's
so seeing
brilliant.
as we're talking about books, other than Self-Made Book of course, give us your top 5 books or that you would recommend for anybody to read.
Books or audio?
Yeah.
Okay, oh my gosh. So
Well, it sounds like 10's coming then. So.
Yeah.
such a big list.
Usually people struggle, but you were ready.
Right,
Honestly, I try and listen to a book a week, so
Okay.
to try and get as much information as I can. So yeah, 48 Laws of Power, that's a massive one.
Yep.
I think Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley. You cannot miss that book. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, it's just, it'll make you think in a completely different way to how you do business. Other one, Money by Rob Moore. That just gives you kind of like a really good understanding, and I think the detail he's put into that book is just phenomenal, which is excellent. Which others? I feel like I need my Audible app now to go through. I can read them off then. What others have I heard? Without the 48 Laws of Power, there's the 48, they've got like a few series. There's the 48 Laws of War, and then there's other ones as well. So check out the whole things that he's done. Podcasts that I love to listen to, there's a really good marketing one. I'm trying to think of his name. Is it Paul Green? I'll have to double check that one.
All right.
Podcasts are great. I think it's doing a combination of like the podcasts and daily books is really key. So that's excellent. And then Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. That's another great one. I try and stick to a few really good authors that I just love hearing.
Sure.
Because I think when you listen to so many different things, you lose your niche and you don't really know what you're trying to learn. But there's another thing that I kind of do every morning away from the podcasts and the kind of the books is I've got an app called Flipagram. I highly doubt, everyone definitely should download this, and it just gives you all the most recent articles. You can pick either luxury, marketing, whatever sectors you want, because I think it's really, I don't like news personally because it's negative, but Flipagram just gives you the snippets that you need to be able to know what's going on.
That are relevant to what you need to know.
Definitely. So that's a really good start to the day.
So as a busy entrepreneur, when do you find the time to read all these books and do all these things that you want to do in your own social life?
Okay, so my AirPods are literally my best friend. So I've got a rule. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I don't get out of bed until I put my AirPods in and started like my morning routine sort of thing. And then from then, when I'm going, whether commuting, going around, I just listen to Audible all the time. If I'm not speaking to someone, I'm listening to Audible. And I feel like to make that a habit, it really kind of makes sure you leverage the time to listen to these books. Otherwise, I wouldn't have 5 minutes. You know, to pick up an actual book and read it, I think that for me that's like impossible.
Sure.
So
can we ask what your morning routine consists of?
Of course. So 6 o'clock early riser,
Wow.
which is something I enjoy.
That's not us.
Honestly, though, that wasn't always the case. It's took me a long time to get to this stage, and that sounds quite odd. But I feel that morning routines is something everyone struggles with. But anyway, I'll get back to that in a moment. So 6 o'clock, early riser, drinking a lot of water as soon as I wake up, that really helps because it just kind of kick-starts everything. Grab a bottle of Huel. I'm a massive Huel advocate. It's brilliant. It's like basically drinking a meal. I swear by the stuff.
Okay.
That sounds great to me, by the way.
Is this instead of breakfast? You just go straight for
Honestly,
fuel?
Huel is like, I'll have it twice a day.
Okay.
I can.
I need to get that.
I will send you the link.
Please.
Check out Huel, honestly. It's the best thing. It will save so much time.
Yes. Just getting up and
I
going
love
to
it.
make something is far
Just
too time
too
consuming.
much effort. Yeah, I wish I could say I'm like a master chef, but definitely not.
Right.
So anyway, so then I try and work out every single morning, just try and get into a routine and get pumped up. I think before I used to listen to a lot of Audible books and stuff in the morning, but then I don't know, I've kind of thought lately, you can learn as much as you want, but unless your mind's in the right place, you don't normally
Can't absorb it and
definitely
action it. Sure.
you can't really kind of make the most of your day.
Yeah.
So in the morning when I'm doing the gym, I just focus on being really positive, listening to great music. If I need a boost, obviously Tony Robbins is always good for that.
Yeah.
Kicks you into shape. So I just kind of, when I'm working out, try and get my mind switched on and ready for the day ahead. And then get back, go through my list of what I've got to do for that day, and just kind of get started and make sure I prioritize all the most important things first. It's try and keep that one on track as much as I can.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
So you spoke about lists. We always find that an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So how do you prioritize? Because sometimes they're all important.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand how you differentiate those items on your list to work out what's priority to you. Because essentially most of them are always kind of important.
Something you have to do.
Yeah, they all need to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely the tasks themselves, like 90% of the time, they are very important. So I look at it more from a time scheduling point of view. So I try and update my list before I go to sleep the night before and say, right, what's kind of, if this event's there, that needs to be done then.
Oh, wow,
if
you're
that
super
meeting's there,
organised.
then I'm literally a bit...
Oh, wow.
I think if you're travelling as much as, you have
You're
to be.
super
Yeah.
I
organised.
feel like I don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
I just try and do everything as much as I can in relation to time, but obviously the important thing, and delegate as well. I mean, that's a habit I really need to. I've just been getting more comfortable with, because you see it, you want to do it.
Yes.
But it's not always the right way.
And you want to do it the way you want it done and the time frame.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've heard this kind of a reoccurring theme
It
about
is.
delegation and struggling to let go.
Yeah.
So first of all, why are you struggling to let go?
I think just because as an entrepreneur, you just want everything done. You just want to take control. It's like your natural instinct. And I think as well, there's always that thing in your mind. You have a set way of doing things.
Yes.
So it's like you just basically need to completely knock that one over and just start to get uncomfortable and just start giving stuff to people. And I think long as you've got good people around you, it'll actually surprise you that with what they come up with, because you need to not be selfish and think, right, my way is the best way, because that definitely isn't always the case. So we actually use an app called High Task, which is great. So whenever tasks come into your mind, you can basically just write it down and it gets sent straight to your team.
High Task.
High Task, yeah,
Right.
it's a really
That's
good
another
app.
one. Yeah.
So I think by having that as well and just putting it down instantly, sending it out, I don't really have that much time to think about, oh, can I do it? How would I do
Sure.
that? I'm like, just write it down, get it out, move on. So
Yes.
that's always a really good thing.
Awesome.
And do you say who you want to do the task, or they just get on with it?
No, I say.
So I was going to say,
I just like, right, who's available?
Yeah.
I'm going to look at that app.
Yeah,
Sure.
that sounds like a good app to me.
Yeah.
So being a woman in business, do
Yeah.
you find that there are any obstacles, as opposed to perhaps, I guess you'd never know, but it's like being a man, but do you find that there's any obstacles being a woman in business, pitching to these corporate companies?
Or is it an advantage?
I always find this topic very difficult, because I've had so many ladies come to me with questions on how to do things or obstacles that they faced. But personally, I mean, before I was even in business, I've had a lot of things go on before I even started in different sectors or with different things that I've been involved in, that have kind of built such a thick skin to kind of get to the point where I am today. So with obstacles that people normally find, I find that I've got quite a good ability just to look completely past them. So for example, if I'm in Pakistan with a boardroom of 6 guys who own the companies, then for me that's fine, I don't mind. Like, it's just mentally I just think, right, I'll get on with it. But then sometimes, obviously on LinkedIn, I do get kind of the odd, there's some strange comments. I don't know if you...
I've seen a few,
I get
but
everything.
you get them.
Definitely.
It's not,
And I think, just knowing that it's all part of the journey, and if you want to get more kind of people on board and, leverage business, get to where you want to get to, that, involves more people, and more people come with more thoughts.
Absolutely.
So I think...
And they're not all positive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I think if you can look at the negativity in a positive way and just keep a strong mind to your end goal. So there's certain things that will be in front of my face and I won't even notice, which is bad and good, really.
Yeah.
But
and is it other people that notice it and say
definitely.
it? Yeah.
But you've just got to do it. And I think with the whole, obviously there's such a big topic around women in business, how they're being treated or how things are going. And I think if we see kind of everyone as equal and you just focus on what you're good at and showcasing that and just not stopping until you get there, then that eliminates half the problems itself.
Yeah.
And I think as a woman, especially if you're starting out, or it's going to be uncomfortable to start with. It's not going to be normal, but then it's uncomfortable for guys that have a new business as well.
Absolutely.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think you've just got to try new things, get out there as much as possible. And if you're not getting the feedback or what you want to hear from businesses, work with someone else. I feel that people think, right, okay, that's the client I want, this is the work that's coming in, I have to work with them. If they're not treating you right, then just don't be there.
There's so many other clients.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest obstacle, because I think obviously with the girls I manage, I don't have to look out for me. Are they going to be treated at the event? And everyone we have on board, I don't see it as, oh, are they going to quickly come on and obviously we're going to get loads of money out of them. No, it's 50-50. Are they going to treat the girls well? Are the girls going to work with them well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. And then we can start building.
And are they going to want to
things.
work together again? Because that's the
Definitely.
thing, isn't it?
Of
About
course.
continuing the business relationship.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Excellent.
What advice would you give the younger you?
The younger me.
Mm.
Oh gosh. I've made millions of mistakes, so I'm just trying to pick one, to be honest.
Give a couple.
Okay, where shall I start? I think what advice I would give to me is, obviously I've been learning pretty fast and I started off very naive, and the top thing would be get a mentor, basically, because I've pretty much learned from like books, videos, everything like that. So having direct guidance from someone, apart from the great people I've had around me, I basically had to work with them as a client and then obviously figure it out and do everything myself. But I think there's so many easier options by having advice from people directly, just asking people for help, messaging people on social media and saying, look, I admire what you're doing, do you have time for like a 30-minute coffee or something, just to get some information. So I definitely think that helps eliminate a lot of the time, and that's something that's really important to do. Other things I'd say is, I think from a very young age, it's so important to get disciplined, and that doesn't have to be business or anything like that. I think if you're doing a sport, if you're doing a hobby, or just try and get into a momentum of some consistency and having that mindset to wanting to do better. Because I got into things when I was a child, like I was really quite comfortable growing up and everything was great, and then when I actually started saying dancing, I was training 7 days a week, 6 hours a day, and that, I believe, that trait really helped me in business to actually just be kind of fearless and go for it and not stop and be like full on. So I definitely think, kind of start younger as well for the hobbies or anything that you can do sports-wise.
To create that discipline.
Yeah, just to get your mind focused, because, your mindset can be transferred into any industry really once you've kind of got it switched on and you've got the motivation there.
So what are the future plans for Corporate Angels?
Okay, so at the minute we're just kind of expanding more into more countries, building the team. We're looking at office spaces in London currently, because at the minute we've got quite a lot of the team working kind of from home, because when we travel so much, it's impossible to just keep everyone in a room.
Yeah.
So I just want to create more of a company culture, because as we're bringing clients on monthly, we're managing the social media for them in the luxury side, we're doing the business development, we've kind of got 5 people on board that are really strong in developing that channel for them now. So it's just making sure we can manage that in different areas, and I think down the line having that more of a solid business focus to make people have all 3 services, not just one.
Sure.
And then I'd probably say 3 years down the line, probably have around 50 really strong clients on board.
Awesome.
And then obviously having strong presence in London, especially, and New York as well. That's the goal.
Okay. So
Yeah.
London and New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one for us. It's a massive market in the States of what we're doing, but
Really?
Yeah.
a lot of implications there we need to switch over to. So
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No different laws and regulations.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
Yes,
So,
let's not go there.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
So LinkedIn, that's a really big one.
Yep.
Obviously keeping in touch on LinkedIn is great, and I post a lot, so sorry if you get sick of me being at the top of your feed. I honestly even get people at petrol stations come up to me, "You're that girl on LinkedIn." Like, it's
Wow.
crazy.
Awesome.
So yeah, LinkedIn's really good. I've got a YouTube channel as well. MelanieGrace.com, I try and put out free advice on there, everything. I'm starting to do some online events. Corporate Angels, we've got a calendar of the list where all the girls are going to be at this year. For example, obviously, like, we focus on 2 big events per month. So if you want to meet the team, check out those events and you'll have a great time there as well. They're really good clients around. So yeah, that's pretty much to see.
And if someone wants to work for you, if there's
Yeah.
someone out there that wants to work for you, what are the things that you're looking for, and how should they apply?
Okay, so what I really look for is someone who's very switched on with business mentality, had experience in like the marketing, business side of things. And I think with the company culture as well, I've always, said it's more important to hire on culture than experience. Okay, yes, experience is important, but I think someone just having a lot of respect, treating people well, having that strong work ethic, a really good mentality. So all those things combined with like a positive attitude. I know it sounds like a long list.
It's a good list, you're right.
So
Yeah.
absolutely.
we're quite specific. So, but yeah, I mean, have a look at corp-angels.com or just type in Corporate Angels. You'll find us there. There's ways to apply. We do have probably around 10 to 15 applications a week.
Really?
Wow.
That many?
Yeah,
Wow.
which is,
Yeah.
which is
Well, I
really
want to
good.
apply 11 countries, 3 times a month.
Do you have any male hostesses?
We actually do.
Hosts.
Yeah.
Are they called
I
hosts on
can
there now?
do security, I can do what's needed.
Look at all the
So
offers he's giving. Carry bags.
that's
I
it.
love it.
Yeah. You
He's
know,
not allowed to go.
Sorry.
Sorry.
interview terminated.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Melanie. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure meeting you and speaking to you, and thank you for all your incredible insights. I've got a few apps I want to download
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
and books.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. So guys, that's the end of this interview. I'm Bianca Miller-Cole.
And I'm Byron Cole.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.